Okay, it's been the second 24-hour period. Hi, and now I am going to take the egg out of the cup.
Which drink is this?
This is a Gatorade.
Okay.
Okay. We are going. You can see how it's white here as the normal. And if you remember, this
Is it as white as it was when you first put it in the liquid at the beginning of your experiment?
No, it's more purple now from more residue. But you see, remember when we wiped some residue off? The spot is still there when we wipe the residue off.
Hold on.
Okay, we are now going to wipe the napkin onto the egg residue and see what kind of residue do we have. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're wiping it. This is some pretty thick residue. See, I have to wipe a lot with my finger. See, we're getting some onto the napkin. And it feels really sticky now.
Okay. What color would you describe the egg as?
This is a very dark purple, but this is all from the residue. This is all the residue.
Purple or gray?
A dark, well, a gray, a dark, really dark purple. But see, normal egg is fine. It's just the residue that makes it look this way.
I know you said it felt sticky. How does the eggshell feel? Is it still hard? Does it feel soft?
It feels wet, very wet. Very wet. But the residue is very thick and very sticky. And this is very interesting. Okay, now it's time to take the egg out of the milk after the second 24 hours. Okay, you can see milk, really some pretty sticky milk here. Feel it? Yuck. Ew, look. Look at this.
What happens to milk when it's not refrigerated, Jeffrey?
It gets slimy and rotten. Doesn't really smell good. Ew, just like I said. So this is an example that what happened to the milk over those 24 hours rubbed off and got onto the egg.
Okay.
So slimy milk residue.
Slimy milk residue.
Okay, we're gonna wipe off some of this milk residue and see how it looks on the napkin. Okay, yeah. This is very thick residue. This is very slimy, like I said. And it's pretty thick.
Okay.
This is just like...
What does the eggshell look like underneath it when you wiped it off?
It's kind of hard to see. Okay, the egg looks normal. The egg's normal. It's just that residue that blends in, but you can see and feel right here where I have my finger rubbing around. That's where the normal egg is. No residue on it. And it just feels normal, like how we had it at first. But when you touch that part with the residue, you get some sticky, slimy, thick milk residue on you. Okay, now we're going to take the egg out, but first I want you to notice, look very close, and if you see the light on it, you're going to see these little, very thin, but little white, waxy clumps. We don't exactly know what these are.
Try and scoop some in the spoon.
Well, you can see it's still in there. I don't know, maybe this could just be pulp. Maybe.
Well, it was pulp-free orange juice.
But now let's take it out. Let me get a napkin. Okay, like last time, it has some little, it had the orange residue on it, orange juice residue on it, at the bubbles, but here's something new. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of very thick residue. I'm not
What does it
exactly.
feel like? Is it soft or hard?
It's pretty rare. It's thick, orange, juicy residue. I think this is just a clump of orange juice residue, some thick of it, and bubble, and it got on the bubble, and it just latched on and made a little one.
Does it wipe
then-
off easily?
Yeah, it's a little thick, but yes, it comes off very easy. And down here we got what it looks like bubbly residue, but I don't think it is. I think it's just normal residue.
What color is the egg?
Orange. Orange. 'Cause look at all this orange on it. Then there's these spots here where it's just normal, but where around the residue and around here, it's orange.
I'm gonna try and wipe it off with the napkin.
Yep. Okay, now I'm gonna wipe this residue off and see what we get on the napkin. Just gonna take some off. And okay, wipe them off. You can see it's pretty orange.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel right there, it's pretty wet. And this is pretty thick orangey residue.
And what is the egg? What color is the egg underneath the residue? When you wiped it off, what happened to the egg?
So right around here, it looks like some of the orange wiped off a little, but still there's some orange on it, but it wiped off a little.
You were able to wipe it off a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's still not the bright white it was before you did the experiment.
Nope. I mean, like in some parts, like right around here, it's a little white, but. Okay, now we're going to take the egg out of the water. Okay, so just like last time, we see nothing has changed. There's no residue on it. Smells normal. Looks just the way it was. The only thing it is just wet. And that's the only thing that is right now with the egg. Nothing happened at all. Cause the water didn't have any effect on the egg. It didn't change it at all. But this is really normal for the water not to do much, because it's a base. It's not acidic. This is not going to put that stuff. This is just normal water. Well, really, it's actually Deer Park bottled spring water, but this is basically normal. Okay, now it's time to take the egg out of the Mountain Dew cup. Okay, it looks pretty normal, but if you look closely, and then right there is some yellow that came off.
So it's been stained yellow a little bit.
Yeah, it's been kind of. Okay, we're gonna examine this a little. It's stained yellow a little. It's wet, but there's no residue on this. I don't see any bubbles anywhere, no cracks. It's just stained yellow a little. Because if you take it close, view right there, see the pretty good yellow there. So that's our observation of Mountain Dew right now. Okay, so before we get to taking out the egg, I want you to look closely. Look at the top. On the orange juice at first, I talked about how there was this waxy thing on it. This has a little more of it. Bigger clumps. It looks thicker, and I think the same thing is that it's thicker, and bigger, and then bigger clumps.
Okay.
So now it's gonna, and before also, you see all these bubbles on the side, and if you look close enough, there's the top of the egg. We got some bubbles.
Okay.
Time to take it out. Okay, this looks a lot like we had with the orange juice. See that little thing just how we talked about that clump in the orange juice?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. Now, and see this bubbly residue here? This is just the same thing as the orange juice. We got some bubbly residue. We got that really thick residue. We got some normal residue. And a little...
Is it sticky or slimy?
It's pretty sticky, slimy-ish. I would go more to slimy, but and you look really close, you can kind of see the egg's a little yellow. You look really close. It looks so. Okay, now we're going to wipe off and see how do we need a lot of effort to wipe it off, or do we not really need that much? Okay, we got some residue on there, but let me find a yellow spot. Okay, with residue. Okay, right there. Okay. Well, where I wiped, it was a little yellow with some residue on it, but the residue isn't really making it yellow. I think it was stained yellow while it was soaking in the cup. So I think that's how that happened, and it's not residue that's making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that we are going to later. We are going to see when we soak them in for 2 24-hour periods or 48 hours or 2 days. We are going to have a test to see about is the shell still hard. And so we're going to test the egg's shell. Since we didn't really see it dissolve, we're going to test its shell. Okay, we're going to do the crack test now. How we're going to do this simple procedure is I'm going to say the name of which egg, well, the drink of the egg which soaked in. And then I'm going to do 5 medium taps and see does the egg crack. Okay.
That was 4. You need one more.
Okay, we got them cracks in, got where it hit, but it didn't crack. Boom. It was standing a little. It just got pushed in. There's a couple of cracks. So the Gatorade did an okay job. That Gatorade residue on it made it a little stronger and a little thicker.
Well, I don't know that the Gatorade made the shell thicker.
Well,
for
the
me.
residue. The residue, how thick it got. Now it's time for this milk. I'm not sure the milk is going to help.
That was 4.
Okay, yeah. I think the Gatorade did a better job because you see we got this huge crack here. Our cracks. Comparing them, even though there are more cracks here, I say the milk did not do that very good.
So maybe the shell was softened more by the sour milk?
Probably. Because it got so rotten. Now let's see the orange juice. I don't know. Maybe the residue, maybe all this orange juice residue on it, this part, maybe it'll withstand. I'm going to try it later.
Let's just see.
Okay. It turned out like the milk. There's this big crack here. And some other little ones. Oh, and right over here we got some cracks. Okay, now I'm going to do the egg that's soaked in the water. 5 medium taps. Okay, so look at this. We got a lot of cracks here. So I don't think the water made it any strong. I think the egg just stayed the same.
Okay. So it wasn't the shell wasn't softened by the water.
So the water didn't do anything to it. Now time for Mountain Dew. I am curious about this. Okay. This turned out pretty much like, when you compare them, this more looks like what happened to the water. These look very similar.
Okay.
So I don't think.
So
Mountain Dew did
you
anything.
you saw a lot of cracks in the shell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's time to do the lemonade. And I'm curious about this one with all these bumps. Okay. We have a lot of cracks. And majority looks like over at least half of them had the same cracks. So I think these 3 all did something to it that
To the shell?
to the shell that had an effect.
Okay.
on it. While then the orange juice and these, this one, I'm going to say these four are pretty much alike. Well, these